Hello, tribe. Welcome back to Doc and the Poet. I am Dr. Brooke Taylor, also known as the Doc, here with my friends, partner in crime, Mr. Devon Porter, also known as the Poet. And how are you?
Brooke, I'm wonderful. And as always, it's great to be with you. Always look forward to doing this. Any day that we do this is absolutely a wonderful day. So I'm looking forward to our topic for today.
It is. It's a fun having these fireside chats. For those of you that are new to the channel, check out some of our earlier episodes. We spend about 10 minutes once a week taking on a variety of topics. Today, it's a little bit more, for those that, know us, our personality, our been, those that are new, it's a heavier topic. I think we're taking on, if you're familiar or kind of Googling this idea, it's taking over the hashtags for sure, hashtag gaslighting. But this idea of what is truth, and we are tackling gaslighting. And so I just turn it over to you to kind of kick off the conversation. What is gaslighting?
Right, and Brooke, you're crazy. There's no such thing as gaslighting. And of course that's what gaslighting is, and I absolutely believe that gaslighting does exist. And with the topic, what is truth, right? I think the only way you can get more broad than that is saying what is reality, and I think that actually is part of this conversation. And so, as many of you know, what our real focus is we try to find, sort of a centrist way of looking at things and a way to bridge this toxic divide that's going on in our culture right now. And I think the topic itself of what is truth, what is reality, and, what is gaslighting is very apropos to this because, what we are seeing right now on the national discourse of these relatively small groups, about 10% over here and about 10% over here that are just battling, and the rest of us, the 80%, are stuck in the middle, and we're being forced into both sides. And what we're seeing from both sides is a national version of gaslighting. Gaslighting, when it's typically described, is described on a personal level. And, it's the words that are being spoken as in, your reality is not true. The word itself is actually based on an old play from the early 1900s where, in that story, there's a married couple and the husband is a bad guy and he's trying to get rid of the wife. I don't remember why. And he decides he wants to make her think that she's going crazy. And so they have gas lamps in their apartment, and the guy slowly turns down these gas lamps and makes them more dim. And as time goes by, his wife says, geez, it doesn't seem a little dark in here. And of course the husband says, you're going crazy. That must mean that you need to go to the asylum, So that's where it came from. And so obviously it's been around for quite a while. And on a personal level, I think what you see is the words that are being used, but more importantly, a lot of times the worst forms of gaslighting come with a form of like unbreakable confidence. Like the tone of voice is like, what are you talking about? That's what we're seeing on a national level. Is that we are seeing both sides, I think, sort of trying to create their own reality, and they're trying to suck everyone into one of those two realities. That's kind of my thought.
So it's complex, and listening to you talk about it, I think first off the bat, there's nothing more powerful than the human mind. So for someone that is presently, it would be interesting to hear stories of your experiences from gaslighting. But if there is someone that's listening to this or to share this that feels like you are a victim of this kind of behavior from those that I would say are in some form or fashion highly narcissist, doubting yourself, doubting your mind, feel at risk or jeopardy of harming yourself or others, I would say just take a moment, take a deep breath. There are infrastructure in the nation to help you. 988 is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. 24/7 people are available to kind of guide you if there is this mental health struggle. So we take that very seriously, and that the mental health crisis, this idea of the mind, of what we're seeing in the nation for gaslighting, it's real. It does exist. We're not counselors or therapists to take that on, unfortunately, but we'll direct you to the 988. I think the idea of the conversation that Doc and the Poet brings to gaslighting is, look, we have beliefs and we have opinions. If we were to take, for example, a policy or a bill or an idea, and we see things very similar, not the same, but in the narrative of the conversation, I would never tell Devon, if we saw something differently, you're insane or you're wrong or how can you believe that? I think that the conversation to bring to Doc and the Poet is, tell me more, I don't understand, what does this mean? And that can we not just agree that the toxic divide, whether we call it gaslighting or not, how do we deal with this, Devon?
Right. And that really resonates to me in the sense that, when you, it's important when you're having a conversation, and we use the term good faith a lot, and the reason that, and we sort of say that Brooke and I agree on about 90% of everything, and we find that 10% to be some of the more interesting conversations that we've had. And we don't shy away from that 10% because we know we disagree about it. In fact, we seek it out because we have respect for each other. And, neither one of us would ever tell the other, that's the silly thing that, that you're crazy. That's very disrespectful. Contempt is one of the highest forms of disrespect. And on a national level, we're seeing it. We're seeing contempt from both sides for the other. And, jumping off of what you're saying, Brooke, is that it's important when we have these conversations to remember a couple of things. And we hit on this multiple times. One, describe what your reality is, and make sure that they understand where you're coming from in the sense that, how sure are you really of these things that you're saying, and, where do those beliefs come from, and be specific about what you know and what you don't. And I think that will prevent gaslighting, not only on a personal level, but on a national level with this very large discourse that's taking place. And it sort of made me think of it because I'm at work the other day, and we were trying to figure out, this problem had occurred, and we were trying to figure out why. And we're researching it, and I'd figured out a lot of it. I went and talked to another person, and I said, okay, this happened, X, 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 Y, and that's all happened. And I said, everything I just said, I'm 100% sure of. What I'm about to say, I'm pretty sure is right. I think this is what happened, but I'm not 100%. And then I proceeded to tell the person what I thought. That made for a very comfortable conversation for both sides because they know where I'm coming from, and they know that I'm sure of this, and they know that maybe that I'm pretty sure, but I'm not, 100%. That is the opposite of gaslighting. That is the opposite of BS. I used to be a good BSer, I'll say it, and I sort of checked myself, said, I'm pretty good at talking, but it's important what I say. Right. The words that I say are important. I need to be sure of what I'm saying. If I'm not sure, I will say it. So that, I think, is a good strategy for the way of looking at it.
Well, and you highlight, I think, the transformation of social emotional maturity in the sense of conversation. I think, presently we live in a very pronoun sensitive culture, and so I would say gaslighting, from that context, if you're sharing an idea or even listening to the news where it's so toxic of they are so directed to you, maybe rewind your pronoun usage and just say, let's change the question in the sense of not targeting a group, but to target an idea. And I think Doc and the Poet is the sense of let's don't fall into the buckets of the toxic divide or political gaslighting of any form or fashion, but let's challenge the ideas and in the process be challenged, but never cut down someone that does not adhere to your personal philosophy. Right. It's unacceptable.
Well, and I think my last thought on this, Brooke, it would be that, fostering a tone of respect and asking for respect, I think is a very, right-minded thing to do. I think that's what you should do. Yes. But trying to coerce someone into participating in your belief system when they don't necessarily believe with it, that's coercion. Yes. And I disagree with coercion. And so I think there's a fine line that, that we see. But I think if we begin and we end with respect, love and hope, I think that we're already about halfway there. So.
I do too. And just when it comes to gaslighting the mind, there's nothing more powerful. And just really continue to just take care of your mental health and watch out for the national narrative and conversation. And let's just be a part of positive change and to make a difference through Doc and the Poet. Thank you for being with us, everyone. We look forward to being back with you next week.
Like and subscribe as always. Thank you all so much.